Welcome to the quarterly review. We're going to go over each question. Number 1, this is how it is set up. We put the numbers outside the radical together, and we put the radical 5 and radical 10 under one radical. We multiply 2 times 3 and get 6. I times I and get I squared. We break 10 down as 5 times 2 so that we can catch the pair. We bring out the 5. We multiply it by what's already out here. The 2 can't come out, so it stays on the inside. I squared is negative 1. So 6 times negative 1 times 5 is negative 30. That's how you do number 1. All right, here is problem number 2. So we always bring out our negative out of the square root as an I. So 3i square root of 45 minus 2i square root of 5. 45 breaks down into 3 times 3, which is 9, times 5. Want to bring that pair out and put that 3 on the outside. 3i times 3 is 9i. Square root of 5 minus 2i square root of 5. So this is adding and subtracting. It's not multiplying, so we need the same radical and the same radicand. So then I have a 9i minus 2i square root of 5. And then when you simplify that, that is going to be 7i square root of 5. Okay. Now we're going to look at number 3. We have x to the 3 over 6 over x to the 5 over 6. So these are like bases. They're being divided. So we subtract 3 over 6 minus 5 over 6. Okay. So 3 over 6 again. Minus 5 over 6 gives me negative 1/3. So if you have a negative exponent, you're going to write it as a reciprocal 1 over x to the 1/3. There you go. Alrighty, let's take a look at the next one. Number 4, we're going to solve for x. And when we solve for x, what we're going to do first, we're going to add 10 to both sides. And when we do get that, we do add 10, we get 16. We divide each side by 4, and we get it equals to 4. We have to take the square root of each side, and we have to consider that the square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. So we're going to do x minus 2 is equal to 2, and x minus 2 is equal to negative 2. We add 2 to both sides, and we get x is equal to 4. We add 2, and we get x is equal to 0. Now, so my solutions are 4 and 0. When you have curly brackets like this and you put it inside curly brackets, that means both are solutions. Do not get it mixed up with 0, 4. This would definitely be a location. All right, number 5, when you write an equation in factored form, you want to look at the intercepts, and the factors are going to be the opposite of the intercepts. So since this is a positive 5, over here we're going to make this minus 5. My other intercept is at negative 1. So when we write it in factor form, this is going to be plus 1. Wow, that's factor form. HK is also called vertex form. And so if you write it in vertex form, everything is centered around the vertex. So y is equal to x minus 2, which is the x value of the vertex, squared minus 9. So this is my h, this is my k, and again, that's the vertex. If we write it in general form, we could go back up to the top, x minus 5 and x plus 1, and we could FOIL and multiply the whole thing out, and we would get x squared minus 5x, x squared plus x minus 5. So in general form, it would be y equals x squared minus 4x minus 5. So that would be general form. All right, for this next question, what represents the translation from one graph to another? Let's go ahead and figure out what the vertex is. Here, since x is squared and not in parentheses, obviously the vertex is going to be 0, 5. So what's on the inside with x? Nothing. That's 0. What's outside of x, so outside the parentheses, is 5. So my vertex is 0, 5. In my second figure, my vertex is going to be 3 comma negative 5. So basically what happens if I go from 0, 5 to 3, negative 5. So that's 0, 5. I'm going from 3 to negative 5. So to go from 0 to 3, which is my x value, that is going to be 3 units to the right. Because if I'm on a number line at 0 and I go to 3, 3 units to the right. My y values, I start at 5 and I go to negative 5, is going to be 10 units down. Okay, so for this next question, it wants the y-intercepts. So I'm sure you probably say, well, I could graph it and find out what the y-intercepts. But to be able to show the work, y-intercept, you let x equal 0. So 0 minus 1 is negative 1. The absolute value of negative 1 is positive 1. And a positive 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So the actual x-intercept is going to be 0, negative 1. Okay, the next one is factor the polynomial. And so, okay, I had to go back and change that because I had x to the third power and the problem is x to the fourth. So I grouped it together, the first two terms and the second two terms. I pulled out x squared. That becomes your GCF. And then you divide to see what's left in parentheses. In my second two, I pulled out my GCF, negative 4, wrote it here. And then I divide to see what's left, and it goes in parentheses. So out of the expression on the left and the expression on the right, there's a GCF again, it's x plus 3. So I write it one time. And what's remaining after that, check it out, after I write it, what's left, and it is x squared minus 4. So I put that in my second set of parentheses. Well, x plus 3 is already prime. Can't break it down anymore. But this here is a perfect square, and the back is a perfect square, and you have a subtraction. So we take the square root, x and 2, and we put it in parentheses, x plus 2 and x minus 2. All right, if you notice, I actually skipped the problem, and I skipped number 8. So if you're watching this video, what I would like for you to do is I want you to go to the top of your page, and on the side, I want you to write the word skipped. Take a look. Skipped going down the side. That's how I'll know you watched that video. And don't give that to anybody else. It tells me you watched the video, and then I have something special for you. Okay? All right, so here we go. I'm going to break this one down together. A times C and B. This is negative 32 and negative 4. We're going to go with 8 and 4. And 8 is negative. Okay. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to write down our factors. This is going to be, let me use the right pen. X to the fourth minus 8x squared plus 4x squared minus 32. What do we have in common here? X squared, so that's my new GCF. I bring it out, and what do I have left? X squared minus 8. Here, GCF is 4, so I'm going to bring out a 4, and what do I have left? X squared minus 8. All right, so we have an x squared minus 8 and an x squared minus 8. We can scratch it out if we like. We'll write x squared minus 8 one time in one set of parentheses, and x squared plus 4 in the other.